Yeah, this Luka trade is so big that I had to wear my business attire suit for Zoom meetings.
Bruh.
But yeah, for the people who only watch the VCT or maybe don't watch a lot of NBA, Luka to the Los Angeles Lakers is like Zekin to NRG for Psalm, with a little bit of Bleed Esports tomfoolery and corruption sprinkled somewhere along the way. We'll get into that later, but first I gotta do some damage control. So these are the key players involved in the trade. Sentinels will receive Psalm, NRG will get Zekin, and for whatever reason Zeta Division will get Qbert. And before all the keyboard warriors come coming at me and typing all that blah 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 blah, I'm not saying Zom is a bad player. If anything, I'm saying Zom is a very good player. It's just that when you compare Zom with Zekin, there's a clear difference between the two, and not only their skill, but how important they are to the team. Zekin is basically the face of Sentinels right now. Whereas when you look at NRG, you could say Psalm is not their best player. But another thing is to consider is the fact that Zekin is not even in his prime right now. He's like getting close to his prime, just like how Luka is getting close to his prime. So there's potential to see even better from Zekin and Luka. Whereas for Anthony Davis and Psalm, we're probably going to see the best of them because Psalm, for one, is going to retire most likely after this season, and AD is 32 years old. He still can put up buckets, he can still be a defensive anchor, but time is ticking on AD's career, just like how time is ticking on Psalm's career, which is why this trade just makes zero sense. The Dallas Mavericks basically traded away their future for a player whose peak isn't as good as Luka's current play. Again, don't get me wrong, Anthony Davis is a phenomenal player, but there's a reason why he hasn't been able to lead teams to Western Conference Finals as well as the NBA Finals like Luka has been able to. Albeit, Luka did have a little bit more help than AD. And even regardless, most people will have Luka in their top 5 NBA players right now, whereas Anthony Davis might not even be in the top 10. But that's just a testament to how stacked the NBA really is. You can claim incompetence, but honestly, the conspiracy theories make a lot more sense than that. Now, when it comes to like the most squeaky clean explanation for this, it just boils down to incompetence by the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, which is Nico. You could say maybe there's some beef between Nico and Luka, or even Luka with some people part of the Dallas Mavericks team. In a sense, Nico called Luka fat or saying his conditioning wasn't great as a reason why he gets injured all the time. And he also mentions that defense wins championships, despite the fact that the Mavericks defensive record last year was pretty good, even though Luka isn't considered a defensive powerhouse. The surrounding pieces around him are good enough to cover up his weaknesses, because at the end of the day, this is a team sport and it takes a team to win one, where people cover each other's weaknesses and they play to their strengths. However, let's get into the Bleed Esports tomfoolery that I mentioned beforehand. Basically, the idea of rich people just ruining things for everyone. You see, Mark Cuban was the majority owner of the Dallas Mavericks for a long time, but he sold portions of his stake in the Dallas Mavericks to the Addison family. The thing to know about these guys is that they are big into gambling, and Texas was looking like they were going to approve sports gambling. And in the Addison's family's eyes, they wanted to cash big on this opportunity, seeing how they have a lot of real estate in Las Vegas. There was even plans to have the Dallas Mavericks stadium in the middle of like a casino resort. However, Texas voted against allowing sports gambling, and that kind of threw a wrench in things for the Addison family. So what do? They throw a temper tantrum. Of course, this is all alleged and just a conspiracy theory, no facts to back it up, but it does make a lot more sense than just being incompetent in my opinion, especially since we know gambling can lead to huge profits, ridiculous profits actually. And at the end of the day, money does make the world go around. We also know that the NBA has 2 expansion teams coming up, one in Seattle as well as one in Las Vegas. So one could say that in the Addison family eyes, so they're probably thinking, okay, if we can't make sports gambling big in Dallas, we'll just move the team to Las Vegas. But how would they do that? Well, by making the team so bad and have the fans hate the team so much that they could go to Dallas and be like, hey, you have no value here anymore. We're taking the team to Las Vegas where people will actually appreciate us more. And they can also just strong arm the city of Dallas too, saying that if we leave, we're taking so many jobs with us. Yeah, some really nasty stuff. Again, this is just all allegations from other people on the internet, but honestly, they make a lot more sense than just Nico being incompetent. And this really sucks because a lot of Dallas Mavericks fans are upset about this. There was actually people walking around the stadium with a casket the day that this news broke. And to make matters even worse, the player that they traded Luka for, Anthony Davis, got injured his very first game. You cannot make it up. That's another thing that I forgot to point out, that Anthony Davis is very injury prone. His initials are AD for Anthony Davis, but some people call him always damaged. So if I was Nico, I would definitely be increasing my security presence, especially after game 1. Now, another conspiracy theory is the fact that NBA ratings have been dropping, which has led some people to think, oh, maybe the NBA kind of orchestrated this whole deal to increase ratings. And honestly, if that's the case, it succeeded. Because so many people who aren't into basketball or kind of dropped basketball are now back into it, because Luka is now in a like high market value city, which is kind of crazy to think, because I also thought Dallas was a high market value city too, because it's North Texas in general is just growing so fast. But if this was the NBA's plan to increase ratings, I think it worked. And I'm not gonna lie, in his very first game, it looked amazing. It looked beautiful. They destroyed the Jazz, but they should be destroying the Jazz anyways. They're currently not that serious of a team. But it was cool to see him like make lobs, to see how him and LeBron James are basically doing hockey assists. Like if there was ever argument to add hockey assists stats to the NBA, LeBron to Luka to their center is a great argument for it. And like a way to like connect the whole NBA controlling things is what a lot of America's players already notice, is that Sentinels and 100 Thieves always play each other because both those organizations are considered clout orgs. Despite the fact that Sentinels just mollywop 100 Thieves all the time. Like it's not even really a rivalry, seeing how 100 Thieves rarely ever fight back. But one thing that is very certain is that whenever these two teams play each other, the ratings are quite drastically higher than other teams, especially a team that hasn't had as much success as these views should probably justify. Which is why people think whenever 100 Thieves and Sentinels play, it's Riot kind of like manipulating the schedule so they can play it as many times as possible. Because I do have to admit, 100 Thieves and Sentinels play each other way too many times per year, but it's still cinema when they do, so I'm not complaining. Overall, there's a lot of winners and losers, but I think the biggest losers are people who are in North Texas that actually like the Mavericks. Mark Cuban included. He has been on record saying that he will rather file a divorce than trade Luka Doncic. It's just unfortunate that he kind of sold his majority ownership over the Mavericks, which is why something like this did happen in the first place. I'm sure him and a lot of the other Dallas Maverick fans are just sick to their stomach. And at the end of the day, the lesson here is that rich people can just ruin things for others. Because even though Luka is on the Lakers, I don't even think they're gonna like go to the Western Conference Finals the way they currently are set up. But hey, I could be wrong. You guys let me know down below how you feel about the whole Luka to LA situation. I probably won't be doing a lot of NBA content. This is just something that I wanted to do for fun. But yeah, till next time, stay safe, be a KDA warrior, and I'll see you later.